entering the eerie depths of Chokeslam Radio, where expert insider WWE knowledge and secrets are unleashed with thunderous power.
Rest in peace.
Coming to you live straight from the heart of Death Valley, here are your mysterious hosts, DRW15 and DJ Big Unknown.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Chokeslam Radio. My name is Big Unknown.
And I'm DRW15. Huge week from the WWE this week. Super excited to get into this episode. Let's get right into it.
And yes, it's been a huge week for WWE, but it's also been a huge week for the Chokeslam Radio universe. A lot of talk has been going on online, and I'll be the first to say I'm not liking the vibes that are going on right now in the Chokeslam Radio community.
No, I'll second that. We're a new podcast. We're just getting going, and of course, we're going to have some opinions on some of the wrestlers. And a lot of people on Instagram and on TikTok and on YouTube were posting some pretty hateful comments just because we had some opinions about some of their favorite wrestlers. And, we don't like to see that, of course. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But, the hate's got to stop. And we don't condone that. We want to create an environment where everyone's comfortable sharing their opinions. And so we'll work on that. We'll be better on our end, and we want our viewers to be better as well.
And I'll just go ahead and say it. It's specifically the Ilya Dragunov fans who are the most toxic fan base on the internet probably right now. These guys are just ruthless, and they're really trying to tear people to shreds in every comment section I've seen. And at the end of the day, look who didn't perform in the ring last night. You can say all this crap to us online, but at the end of the day, we were right in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. We were saying it last week. He's in the WWE, so we got to give him some respect, but he's not a superstar. He's got to hit the weight room a little bit. And, Jey Uso showed him who's boss last night. Were we surprised by that? Not really, but I think a lot of his fanboys were pretty hurt. Everyone wanted to see Gunther versus Ilya. People in the comments were saying, Triple H should have rigged the match, should have done this and that. Whatever. Grow up, This is WWE. It's not a game. And, Ilya didn't perform in the ring. The better fighter won. And, he's got some room to grow, and people are going to hate that. But at the end of the day, Jey Uso was a better wrestler last night, and that was pretty clear.
At this point, I'm just embarrassed for him. I don't even want to see him do bad. He got his ass kicked last night. He needs to drink a prime or two to recover and go back to NXT for a couple months, because he proved that he wasn't ready to step it up into the main show. He's got to go back to the minor leagues, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he hit his finisher, which he calls the H-bomb, on Jey Uso. The H-bomb is really a move by UFC superstar Dan Henderson. He was the real king of the H-bomb. Ilya tried to steal that move. Obviously, it didn't work. So, hit the weight room, put in a little bit of work over the next couple of weeks, and, maybe he'll come back a different wrestler. But right now, I'm just not seeing it from him. I don't think he has what it takes. People wanted to see him versus Gunther, and, that's just another embarrassment waiting to happen. So, for Ilya's sake,
I'm sure the match will happen one day, but Gunther is one of the most dominant forces in the WWE. You think that it would really be a good match against, this minor league wrestler? No, he's not ready yet. He has to prove himself just like everyone else before he can face someone like the Yin General.
Exactly. And people were being babies in the comments that Jey Uso shouldn't have even been in the tournament because he replaced Drew McIntyre. And do you really think the outcome would have been any different if it was Drew McIntyre versus Ilya Dragunov? I don't think so. Ilya beat Ricochet barely, and everyone's hyping him up like he's this big superstar. I just don't see it.
If there's anyone that didn't deserve to be in the tournament, it was Dragunov, and we saw that last night. Someone who does deserve to be in the tournament and who I think got screwed over a little bit, and he made it known last night, was Braun Breaker. I mean, this dude is a tank. I mean, he has been on SmackDown just annihilating all the competition. And now I think Adam Pearce, I don't blame him because the Ilya Dragunov fan base is pretty toxic. Like, I think he was worried that if he didn't put him in the tournament, that he would just be getting spammed with a bunch of hate messages nonstop, like we have been. And, he proved that sometimes that's not always the best decision to give into the hate, because Braun Breaker possibly could have won the whole tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you could see he was frustrated by it last night. He let his opinion be heard in front of everyone. And I agree with you that sometimes, if you're in charge of scheduling all these matches, you kind of have to please the masses a little bit. And all these Ilya fans crying in the comments that they want their dragon to do so well in the tournament. Well, we saw what happened. And I think we missed out on an opportunity to see Braun Breaker and what he's capable of. So I think hopefully some big matches from him soon, because people are going to start to realize that he is a force to be reckoned with. And Ilya, unfortunately, came up a little bit short.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. Anyways, I've talked enough about this Ilya Dragunov guy. I want to move on to something else because, he just, quite frankly, doesn't deserve to be talked about at this point.
No.
Well, we had a very big SmackDown on Friday, and we had a very special Monday Night Raw yesterday as well. DRW 15, I wanted to ask you, what were the standout matches in this past week, in your opinion?
Well, I think the first thing I want to talk about is the new match they announced, Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes, something that we had predicted on the podcast last week. We were talking about how, Cody needs a superstar to face. As we saw, he beat AJ Styles at Backlash, but there's really no other dominant superstar that's even worthy of contending for the WWE Championship at this point. And, we predicted Logan Paul could be that face, the face of Prime, as we've talked about. He could pose a challenge to Cody Rhodes, and now we're going to see that match. So we broke that news here first, and now that's going to be a big match coming up. So I'm definitely excited for that one.
Me too. The WWE universe was shocked to see Logan come out and challenge Cody, but the Chokeslam Radio universe, we knew this was going to happen days in advance. So nevertheless, I'm still very excited. I think that Logan Paul is a great opponent for Cody Rhodes. And I honestly think that Cody is probably a little bit better of a fighter, but Logan Paul has shown that he knows how to outsmart his opponents, and I think he has a good shot of taking the championship.
Yeah, no, I agree. He took down Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, two legends, at WrestleMania. One thing I do wonder is, in the past couple of WrestleManias, he's brought out sort of a teammate. He brought out KSI and ISO Speed in the Prime Bottle. But in both those matches, they were just kind of more of distractions a little bit. And, I don't know if Cody's going to fall for that, if he's messing around with distractions like that. So it would be interesting to see if Logan thinks he wants to bring out, another superstar, someone who could actually help him out in the Prime Bottle instead of just ISO Speed, barking at Randy Orton, something like that.
Exactly. And Cody Rhodes, he was the only person who was able to finally take down the Bloodline, who are probably the best at outsmarting people in that way. So, I mean, if Cody can take down the Bloodline, I don't think he'll have a problem against Team Prime. Although I think Cody Rhodes is a Prime athlete last time I checked.
Yeah, that is interesting. The CEO of Prime versus one of their athletes. I wonder if Cody feels any pressure by Logan to, I don't know, throw the match, but not, tear him to shreds, just because in a way Logan Paul is Cody Rhodes' boss a little bit. So it's another interesting dynamic.
We're really going to see, is Cody in it for the money, or is he in it to, dominate by force?
Yeah, no, that'll be an exciting match for sure.
Something else that happened on Friday was some more updates with the Bloodline. Now, Solo Sikoa is claiming that by orders of the tribal chief, he is in charge now. Are you buying this? Because I'm not.
No, I don't think Solo has spoken to Roman. I think if Roman was going to talk to anyone, it would be, Paul Heyman. That would make the most sense. And as Paul said, he hasn't heard from Roman. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for me, like out of nowhere, for Solo to say he spoke to Roman and that Roman just put him in charge of the Bloodline.
Yeah.
Roman has been MIA for a little bit and he needs some time. And I understand that. And I think we respect that. But I don't know if Solo is respecting that. I think he's making up stories because he wants to further his own agenda. And he knows he can't do that if Roman's still in the picture. So he's making up lies about talking to Roman.
And the thing that really makes me not trust Solo here is that he asked the wise man, before he even said that he was talking to Roman Reigns, he had to make sure by asking the wise man, hey, you haven't talked to Roman Reigns, right? And he's like, no. And then he says like, oh, well, I have. So I think he was checking just in case, because he didn't want to lie about it. If the wise man really had been talking to him, then he would know that he's lying, and that would be reported straight to the tribal chief, and he could possibly be kicked out.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. I think Solo was just checking to make sure that no one had heard from Roman, so that when he lies about talking to Roman, it wouldn't come back to bite him. So I think when Roman comes back and hears about all that's going on, he's not going to be happy. And as we've talked about in previous weeks, the Bloodline, it's not looking so good. I know Solo is trying to keep it together, but if and when Roman comes back, there's gonna be some serious beef there, and I don't want to mess with an angry Roman.
Exactly. And I'm curious, where has Jimmy Uso been during these past couple weeks? Because he just sort of disappeared. We had Carlito, who basically betrayed the LWO, yet he was still added with the LWO in the draft. And Jimmy Uso was kicked out of the Bloodline around the same time, yet after that happened, he was not included with the Bloodline in the draft. So I think there's something happening that WWE hasn't told us with him. But I wish they could explain that, like let the fans know, because there's a lot of people out there who are fans of the Usos and they're wondering where is he?
Yeah, no, it's interesting for sure. I wonder if part of him is a little bit jealous of Jay, because as we've seen, main event Jey Uso is taking the WWE by storm a little bit right now. He's becoming a superstar without Jimmy, and I think Jimmy's seeing that maybe the Bloodline has fallen apart and he's kind of in no man's land right now. So maybe there's a part of him who's a little bit embarrassed that he turned on his brother. Part of him wishes that he could be sharing the spotlight with Jay, but yeah, I agree that I would appreciate at least a little bit of explanation from the WWE about what's going on with Jimmy Uso.
I agree. Well, we saw Tama Tonga have his first official fight in round 1 of the King of the Ring tournament. How do you think he performed?
Well, as I said last week, I just think that there's too many Bloodline members at this point, and something's going to happen with that. Solo's trying to take charge. He's trying to become the leader, but as we said, Roman's still lurking somewhere. The Rock is still somewhere, and now Tama Tonga is this new member that no one knows about. And do you really think he's going to be okay just following Solo Sikoa around? Because I don't know if he even believes that Solo talked to Roman, but there's obviously some lies going on. I think Tama Tonga is going to be a strong fighter in the WWE. He looks good, so
yeah.
Bloodline could be strong, but as we said, there's a lot going on in between the matches. I'll say that makes it
exactly.
difficult.
And I'm curious to see how Tonga Loa performs, because we saw that he is definitely a threat, but we still haven't seen him in an actual fight yet. So I'm curious to see how he is. I'm sure since he's part of the Bloodline, he's going to be great, like, because everyone else in the Bloodline is. But you mentioned The Rock earlier, the final boss. I actually have an update on The Rock on what he's been doing lately. And although he's not in the WWE right now, he's still causing a lot of issues in the world of entertainment right now. So this is coming from a news source.
Okay.
This is coming from cinemablend.com. So The Rock mentioned that he had to step away. He wants to face Cody Rhodes, but he had to step away to film a movie. Now, this movie that he's working on, Red One, the cast and crew of this movie have been complaining about The Rock's behavior on set. Obviously, if The Rock's in a movie, he's going to be a very important part, essential part of the movie. So they need him there on set, but he is hours late to almost every set, according to this article. And listen to this quote. This is something pretty disturbing that one of his coworkers has said, an anonymous coworker on set. This is a quote. On set, away from his trailer, if he needs to pee, he doesn't go to the public bathroom. He pees in a Voss water bottle, and his team or a PA has to dispose of it. So this is very shocking behavior. I mean, we've seen that the final boss is not very respectful most of the time, but this is a whole nother level of disrespect. So what do you think about this?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think it goes back to WrestleMania when he realized that The Undertaker was after him. If The Undertaker was after me, I don't think I would just go to any public bathroom. So I think The Rock is scared. He's living his life in fear. And I think to a lot of people, it's coming off as disrespectful because he's making a lot of choices that are maybe a little bit insulting. Maybe he's, as you said, peeing in water bottles because he's too scared to go to a bathroom because The Undertaker might be in there. I think The Undertaker showing up at WrestleMania really, really shook him. And he's obviously still struggling from that, and it's affecting other parts of his career. So we wish nothing but the best for The Rock, but that's tough when The Undertaker is after you.
And I'm sure, he's having trouble sleeping at night, like constantly thinking about The Undertaker. That could be a issue that is leading to him being late all the time, just lack of sleep. Also, I would be afraid to leave my trailer, that's for sure. So he probably has to wait until he knows that the time is right, or until he's built up that amount of confidence till he can get out there. Because, when you're an entertainer, it's kind of public knowledge, like where and when they're going to be filming these movies. So Undertaker probably knows exactly where Rock is. So he's trying to get in and out of there as soon as possible. And he's trying to be a little bit unpredictable when he's going to show up. So that's why he's going not on schedule, because Undertaker could just be waiting. He probably just knows like when this scene's going to start, and he's just going to be there waiting. The Rock's like, no, I don't think so. I'm going to wait 3 hours later. And then Undertaker's like, oh, he's got to use the bathroom? Okay, I'll wait for him in the bathroom. The Rock's like, I don't think so. I'm going to pee in this Voss water bottle and get back to my job. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Well, I think that The Rock has been posting videos on his social media lately that he's been MMA training. And I think that's just another way for him to sort of protect himself. Maybe in his head, he's thinking maybe the Undertaker will see this and sort of back off because I'm doing real training. But at the end of the day, it's the Undertaker. I don't think any amount of MMA training is really going to scare him away or even be able to do any real damage on the Undertaker. So I see where The Rock's coming from, but I think he's just desperate at this point.
I know The Rock has already been in so many action movies that have fight scenes and stuff. You know, we're not buying this excuse that he's learning MMA for a movie. Like if it was for a movie, he would have done that long ago. He's probably been in 100 different action movies. We know why you're doing MMA training, Rock. You're not fooling anyone. You have to be prepared for any type of combat when it comes to Undertaker.
Yeah. And I've watched some of those videos. I don't think he's stands a chance against a Tombstone. As we saw in WrestleMania, the choke slam was enough to take him out. Tombstone's a whole nother level, and I think The Rock knows that. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no doubt The Rock is definitely shaking in his boots right now. You know, he's not getting any sleep. He's worried about that the Undertaker is going to get him. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I would be too. I don't blame The Rock for acting out on set for peeing in water bottles because, you know, when the dead man's after you, you're living your whole life in fear. That changes how you view everything. So.
Anyways, I know we already talked about this match that happened last night with Ilya Dragunov and Jey Uso. So now that match, you know, that's since Jey Uso won, now he's got to face Gunther, who he was not able to beat in the past. Now, a lot of people say, oh, it's just because Jimmy Uso distracted him. But, you know, you can tell that Jay is still pretty distracted by his brother, whether he's there or not, because no one knows where he is. And if he does know where he is, he's so disturbed by it, he's not talking about it on TV. So, you know, how do you think Jay is going to do going up against Gunther next week?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. As we've seen, Gunther destroyed Kofi on Monday night, and he's not afraid to use his little pipsqueak sidekick to gain an upper hand in the matches, as we saw against Sheamus. So I'm scared of Gunther as it is, and I think it's gonna be tough for Jay. I'm wondering if Jimmy shows up this time to help Jay against Gunther. I know you mentioned last time Jimmy was a bit of a distraction and cost him the match. This could be Jimmy's chance to see, hey, you know, it's my chance to make things right with my brother, to sort of help him out in this match that I cost him before and allow him to get into the finals of King of the Ring. So this could be a good opportunity to see Jimmy again. But I think as it stands right now, as much as we love Jey Uso, it's going to be an uphill battle for him for sure against Gunther.
Yeah. I mean, Jimmy has kind of burnt all bridges with Jay at this point. We saw during WrestleMania, it was kind of that last hope for Jay to trust Jimmy. You know, like Jay was ready to, trust him again. And Jimmy used that to, take advantage of him and, trick him. And I think it's going to take a lot for Jay to ever trust Jimmy again. So helping him beat Gunther would definitely be a great first step for Jimmy if he ever wanted to reunite with his brother, which I hope they do. I mean, a lot of people would say they're the best tag team of all time. And
yeah. But I do agree that, Jay has sort of made a name for himself and become a superstar in the ring without Jimmy. So, I don't know how willing he would be to just forgive Jimmy like that, because Jimmy has showed time and time again he wanted nothing to do with Jay. But now that Jay's a superstar and he's main event Jey Uso, Jimmy might try to crawl back into his life. But, I think Jay might have some opinions on that, and he's not going to be so easy to forgive his brother.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I would also say that Jay wouldn't be where he is now without Jimmy. I think if Jimmy didn't take the actions he did, that maybe seemed like a bad thing to Jay in the time. If he didn't do any of that, Jay would still be in the bloodline right now, behind the shadow of Roman Reigns. They're still the most dominant faction in the WWE. They're still at the top, but even when you're at the top, you're always going to be behind the tribal chief Roman Reigns. There's no overcoming the power of the tribal chief.
Yeah, and I think Jay definitely would not trade where he is now with anyone who's in the bloodline. So, it's going to be an exciting match, him versus Gunther for sure. Either way, I think either of them deserve to be in the finals for King of the Ring. So that's going to be an exciting match. I think without any help, Gunther might pull it off, but you never know who's going to show up. As we've talked about, Jay might be distracted. He's still got links to a lot of people in the bloodline who, a lot of question marks right now. So if that's on his mind, it's going to be tough for him to focus on Gunther. And Gunther's always so locked in and dialed when he's in the ring. He's the ring general. So tough battle.
I would disagree. If this was 2 months ago before WrestleMania, I would agree with what you said, but I don't think Gunther is as locked in as he used to be now. He was distracted against Sami Zayn, and we had that interview earlier, Kathy Kelly with Ludwig Kaiser, and Kaiser said, he's the ring general. He has nothing to prove. Well, if he has nothing to prove, why did he have to storm out there at the end of the match, last night to confront Jay? Whether you think that Gunther is better than Jay or not, Jay Uso is definitely in Gunther's head. And, but the difference is, they're both in their heads. The difference is that Jay Uso does not have Gunther in his head. He has his brother in his head. So I think that it's going to be, we think of WWE as like a very physical sport, but I think this match is going to be a very mental sport. Like, who can overcome, their inner self. It's going to be more of like a fight against themselves.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think Gunther's confidence is definitely still hurting a little bit from his loss against Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And sure, he beat Sheamus. Sheamus is just getting back into the ring, and as they've talked about, Sheamus has never beaten Gunther. So when Sheamus was at his prime, he couldn't beat Gunther. So not a real big victory there. And then the match against Kofi last week. Sure, Kofi's a great fighter, but I think this will be the first real test for Gunther since WrestleMania to prove himself. And maybe his confidence is hurting a little bit. Maybe he's in his head too much. So regardless, I'm excited for the match. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. On the other side of the tournament, from the SmackDown side, who do you think is going to come out on top and challenge Jey Uso or Gunther?
Well, I got to root for my guy Randy. AJ Styles was the one who just fought Cody at Backlash. So, just given the fact that he was contending for the WWE Championship, you can see that he's a strong contender. Cody barely beat AJ, and then I thought AJ was going to make it far in the tournament, and Randy knocked him out first round. So was pretty awesome to see. I think it would be, just one more thing for Randy to accomplish in his career. So I got to go with my guy Randy Orton.
I'm gonna disagree. I think Tama Tonga is gonna come out on top of that bracket because he's part of the bloodline, and the bloodline has always been dominant. So I think that anyone representing the bloodline in any kind of tournament is going to win it all.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but I could also see the bloodline, making a mistake and getting him disqualified in a match. As we've seen, there's been some interferences in matches already. Sami Zayn came out and started beating up Chad Gable, which led to a no contest there. So, as we've talked about, the bloodline is powerful, but there are cracks, and there's so many of them. All it takes is one guy to make a dumb mistake in front of the referee, and that'll cost another member the championship. But I do agree that all the members of the bloodline are powerful, and it wouldn't shock me to see someone like him make it all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of Chad Gable, we've been talking about him the last couple of weeks. He's been a very bad look on not just WWE but our whole country as an Olympic athlete. He represents us all, and he's doing a very bad job at it. He's being abusive, disrespectful, all around just a bad dude.
Yeah, he claims to be the coach and the leader of Alpha Academy, and he's doing everything but that. It's embarrassing as Americans to see, and I think it might be a little bit symbolic of where our country is right now. He's trying to do too much, and he just ends up hurting members of his team. People don't like him. People are turning on him. We hear the announcers scoff and laugh every time someone mentions his name because at this point he's a bit of a joke, and it's hard to admit, but he may be reflective of where we are at this point as a country. So it's a little bit disappointing to see, and Alpha Academy has really struggled. They had 2 matches on Monday night and both went horribly, and I just don't see how Chad Gable or Alpha Academy really recover from this.
And it's almost like he wants his students to fail. He's setting up these matches where he's like, you have to win at all costs. But the people that he's setting up for the matches are Bronson Reed, Sami Zayn, people that Chad Gable himself can't even beat. So what kind of expectations are these? I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. If you're gonna get mad at somebody for losing a match, then how about have them face somebody who's not as good, like someone like Ilya Dragunov?
Exactly. As you mentioned, Chad Gable lost to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn thinks of Chad Gable as kind of a joke. And then now all of a sudden Chad Gable's the coach and yelling at Otis while he's fighting Sami Zayn. And, Otis had his worm going. It was looking good. And Chad Gable got up there yelling at him, distracted him, and cost him the match. So, yeah, I agree. Someone like Ilya Dragunov would be perfect for someone in Alpha Academy to get back on track, because I think that's an easier match. Someone who's, just like a recovery fight almost, just to get your head on straight and make sure that you can still win in the WWE. So that's a match I think I would like to see for sure.
Yeah. At the same time, though, I can kind of understand Chad Gable's frustrations. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be hitting people and slapping people on live TV. Even though you're a fighter, this isn't a match, and this is your student. This is a bad look. But at the same time, I mean, Otis has really shown that he's very uncoachable. The one thing was that he's not supposed to do the worm. And what does he do? He does the worm. So I can see why Coach Gable would be mad about that, because that's a mental mistake. That's not like a physical mistake is fine. Like, you just hit the weight room and you get better at it. But a mental mistake is like something that's very preventable. And, Uh, Otis really needs to step it up, and he has shown that he can't do it, and he's not willing to learn. He's one of
Well,
these guys who goes out is like, okay, coach, I know what you're saying, but I'm just going to do my own thing anyway. And that's not what it takes to win. Sometimes you got to take the coaching.
yeah, it's an interesting situation that Otis is in, because as we could see, he wanted to do the worm. I think he thought the worm was the best move, and I think the crowd wanted to see the worm as well. But when you've got a coach like Chad Gable and you're in the Alpha Academy, sometimes the worm doesn't fly. So I think he needs to make a decision. Is he Alpha Academy or is he going to worm, And me personally, I think he needs to worm, but it's going to be hard for him to leave Alpha Academy. I know him and Chad go way back. So I hope he makes the right decision. As we saw, Chad was getting pretty physical and angry with him after the match, and Otis was hurt by that. So we'll see if he's able to man up and to realize that, Chad Gable's limiting his potential, or if he's just going to stick in Alpha Academy and continue to struggle and not be able to do the worm.
I agree. What did you think about Tozawa's match? Because I feel like Tozawa, he was going against Sami Zayn, who's the Intercontinental Champion right now. He just beat Gunther. So, nobody thought he was going to win besides Chad Gable. But anyways, he showed that he's coachable. Because Chad Gable said, hey, don't do the dance. Tozawa is buying into the coaching, and he's trying to get better, unlike Otis.
Yeah. Did he fight Sami Zayn, or did he fight that big dude, right? I don't remember his name.
Oh, wait, yeah. Otis fought Sami Zayn. Never mind. But anyways, it's the same thing. He was going against Big Bronson Reed, who actually just beat Sami Zayn a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people would argue that Bronson Reed is even more powerful than Sami Zayn, especially for someone the size of Tozawa. Like, they do not match up at all.
Well, as soon as I saw those two lined up against each other, I thought that match was over. But at least Tozawa put up a fight. He showed that, he can be coached. I think it's just a matter of if the coaching is worth it, Like, can Chad Gable really step up as a coach, or has he sort of turned to the dark side and become too focused on Sami Zayn and all the beef that he started and all of that? Because, he's scheduling these matches for his students that are pretty ridiculous in my eyes. Looking for a big victory when, obviously that's not going to happen. And now he's even more frustrated, and Alpha Academy looks kind of crappy. So I think it all comes back on Chad Gable. Bad coaching leads to bad performance in the ring.
But I feel like Chad Gable really does want them to get better. Like, if he wanted them just to win matches, maybe he would not schedule them against really competitive opponents. Like, there's people like Edge who only care about winning, so they go to an easier company to fight in against all these people who are not as good. Because he just wants the wins. Like, if you want to do that, at the same time, he's not getting any better being over there as he would be in WWE. Yeah, he has more wins now, and all the attention is on him, and it's not as hard anymore. But, at the end of the day, you don't compare to where you could have been if you stayed in Judgment Day.
Yeah. One thing I will say about Alpha Academy is that they definitely have faith in themselves and faith in their coach. As we said, those matches seemed like a bit of a lopsided match to us on the outside, but I don't think those fighters ever doubted themselves, and they were at least trying to take the coaching. Didn't work out in the end, but at least they're putting in work, and I think that's what it takes to be successful. So I do hope they turn things around. As we mentioned, maybe an Ilya Dragunov fight is the way for Alpha Academy to get back on track and finally get a W. But whatever it takes, I do think there are brighter days ahead for the members of the Alpha Academy.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, are there any more topics that you would like to discuss? Because I have a couple.
Yeah, we can. I know we have some clips to talk about from the past week, so if we want to segue into those.
Yeah, so for our viewers who watched last week, I talked about how, with the French crowd, they made the mat they made um backlash all about themselves, and for people like me who just want to watch wrestling, we don't want to watch like all these people do soccer chants and stuff, like distracting from the match, distracting the wrestlers. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I gave my opinion on that, and like this is my podcast, and the internet is a place where people can state their opinions. But apparently, a lot of people have a problem with that, and they don't want me to, state my opinions. So we had a lot of hateful speech come our way online on apps such as Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. And it's very it was almost I mean, I'm not going to say I felt hurt by it, but anyways, we have a video from one of our fans, and he has a lot to say about our comments, or my comments from last week. I don't think you agreed with me, but
well, I made the point that I think the French crowd was so into it because they're used to watching soccer every week, where there's one goal scored every 90 minutes, and when someone gets their toe stepped on, they're down for 15 minutes. So I think it is exciting when you get to watch a real sport, and when someone gets knocked down, they pop back up and continue to compete. And these fighters are exciting, and they're going to put on a show, and it's not 90 minutes waiting for one person to kick a ball into a net. So
yeah,
I think at the end of the day, I don't blame the French crowd for being excited, but at the same time, they were making it all about them. And I think taking away from watching the actual fighters in the ring a little bit.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into this video response from one of our fans. And just let me know if you want me to pause it. If you have anything to say, I might pause it at some. Actually, I don't know if we'll have the ability to pause it, but
I think we're muted while it plays, so just play it for as long as you want, and then we'll react when we feel fit.
All right, let's get into it.
All right, let's try this again, because apparently I had my shit
Hello?
on mute.
I can unmute.
It's not going to be nearly as long.
Wait, can you hear me?
My favorite saying when it comes to wrestling,
Yeah, I can hear you
in
when
the
you're
social
on
media era, and it probably held true in the other era, and before social media and the internet, is I love wrestling. I hate wrestling fans. I think the way we consume wrestling now is fucking stupid, fucking brain dead. Just like this take. Look. I don't know. I don't know what to fucking tell you, bruh. Like, do you want to watch your shows where the crowd is dead? We went through years of watching it with dead crowds. This shit is not fun, right? It's not fun for anyone. Not fun for us, the consumers, the fans of the product. Not fun for the wrestlers. It's not fun for the fucking fans, bruh. Wrestling is at its core performance art, and the audience is always going to be a part of a live performance to some degree. Always has been, always will be. That's just a fact of the art and the sport that we're watching. But let's get to the real part of it. Wrestling is 50 years old. In the form that we are watching it right now, when Vince created WWE as we know it right now, in the late 70s, early 80s, to now, that's about 50 years, right? This is the first time Francis had a major event happen live for them. They had a live SmackDown and then a live PLE, first time ever. A lot of these motherfuckers didn't think that was ever going to happen. So they showed out. They showed WWE why they need to come back to France.
All right, first of all, if they brought a French
No,
soccer game to America,
that shit
I
enhanced the
wouldn't
experience
care
of what you watch.
just because it hasn't been there before.
And they sit there, bro. They sang Voices in My Head. I can't remember. Has an American crowd ever sang Voices in My Head like that? No.
All right, I've had enough of that. If you want to hear people sing, go to a Taylor Swift concert. This is not the place for singing. This is a place where men step up into the battlefield and fight each other for their lives. People risk, literally, people have had horrible injuries. You know, this isn't a place to just be singing, chanting, making all these jokes. You know, this is the WWE. This is a real live sport. And if you're going to treat it like some little game where you're kicking a ball around in the grass like soccer, okay, where if you trip, everyone, they bring out an ambulance every time you stub your toe. You know, I mean, that's just not going to fly for me. I'm sorry. And I think, you know, but that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, if you want to see art, as you said, go to an art museum. I don't know what to tell you. You know, this is, as Carson said, this is a real sport with real competitors. You don't remember the old WrestleManias because, you know, the crowd chanted loud when the Undertaker showed up or blah, blah, blah. You know, you remember the matches for the fighters and the moves that they put on in the ring and the performances that they put on. So at the end of the day, you know, if the fighters weren't there, no one would care about it. If the crowd wasn't there, we would still be watching. So
exactly. When a new Star Wars movie comes out in the theater, you're not going to be like, oh, have you seen the new Star Wars movie? The crowd was really excited about it. Like, no. You're going to talk about who died, you know, what happened, what was your favorite scene. You're not going to be like, oh, the guy next to me, he clapped at this one scene and it was awesome. Like, no. And nobody's going to movie theaters like singing songs and stuff. Like, people want to watch the movie. You know, you're not going to go, you know, you're not going to go fishing at a lake, you know, and catch a fish and tell a story about, you know, the people who are watching you, what their reaction was. No, you're going to tell a story about the fish you caught, how big it was, what kind of fish it was. And same goes for wrestling.
Yeah. And I think I see where they're coming from, the French, because, you know, if you, as I mentioned before, if you're at a soccer game, sometimes the crowd is the most exciting part because, you know, there's nothing really to watch there. Just some dudes kicking around a ball and crying every time their toe gets stepped on. So, but here in America, we care about the actual sport. We don't watch the Super Bowl to watch the fans. We don't watch WrestleMania to watch the fans. It's the same thing. So those Europeans can have their, you know, singing, dancing, fun time in the crowds, but we're here to watch the sport. And that's that.
Yeah. And there's no reason, you know, if someone says, oh, I like the French crowd, I'm not going to, you know, drop everything I'm doing to write 10 paragraphs on this dude's post in the comments trying to trash this man's whole career. I'm not going to do that. But, you know, we've been stormed by a huge mob of fans trying to, you know, take down our credibility as a podcast just because we're new and just because we have an opinion that's not the same as yours. That doesn't mean we can't share other opinions as well. Just because we disagree about the crowd doesn't mean that we make accurate reporting, like reporting that Cody Rhodes was going to fight Logan Paul. We knew that days in advance. We knew that Ilya Dragunov was going to lose to Jey Uso. We knew that almost a whole week in advance. So, I mean, trying to take down our credibility just for an opinion when we get the facts right, like, we can argue about opinions all day, but at the end of the day, our show gets the facts right. So, yeah, can't argue with that.
No. Here at Chokeslam Radio, I think we pride ourselves on getting the facts right, as Carson said, and not letting our feelings get in the way. Sure, I'll get excited when Jey Uso's music comes on or when my favorite superstar wins a match, but I'm not going to be a baby in the comments when someone has a different opinion. When Ilya Dragunov loses the match, I'm not going to go crying in all the comments and hating on all the podcasts who said he was going to lose because he did. And the same thing, I'm not going to get all mad when someone says, the French crowd was a bit much and a bit distracting, because at the end of the day, that's a fact, and you can't argue with that. So, you guys can have opinions all you want and, have your feelings hurt when someone disagrees. But as Carson said, the Chokeslam Radio has the best and most accurate information on the WWE, and we're not going to let our feelings or our emotions get in the way of good wrestling.
Yeah, and this online toxicity, this hate mob, this bullying, this isn't a problem just with wrestling fans. This is a problem with the internet in general. And, people are getting tired of it, but, there's still a lot of people out there in other communities as well. One of them is known as the Swole Army. Mm-hmm. They go around, hating on people because, they, from their point of view, they see themselves as, morally just. And because of that, that's an excuse to hurt others. But whether you like it or not, you're still hurting other people, and it's not okay to do that on the internet.
Yeah, no, I think the Swole Army is a little bit hypercritical, I will say, because, Joey Swole makes these videos about other content creators being like, and he always says, don't put down these people for trying to make gains, for putting in time in the weight room if they're not as strong as them. And everyone in the comments is like, yeah, like Joey's the best. And then the Swole Army goes into other people's comments, the people who make those posts, and we're like, you're not strong, you're the worst, like you should hit legs, all these hateful comments tearing down the content creator, which is, exactly what Joey Swole is hating on the people for. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense. They're doing the exact thing that Joey Swole is trying to call people out for, and they're being little babies in comment sections. And we won't stand for that.
Anyways, this clown Joey Swole recently called out A-Town Down, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller, and he made a video about it. So let's go ahead and play the video.
Hey, you don't see the camera there, idiot? Like anyone in the gym. Bro, what's wrong? You trying to see the camera? Bro, I'm trying to get shoulders. What's wrong with your shoulders? You can't see the video? Bro, it's Austin Theory. You're just trying to work out here. You're never going to look like us. I don't know what you're trying to do. Hey, go tell manager. You going to tell manager? You're going to tell manager? You're going to tell manager. Look weekend, lad. Look weekend.
Wow. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. What, you think that just because you're a couple of WWE superstars that you get to treat people this way? That just because you're filming, everybody else has to stop what they're doing just for you? I'm sorry, you don't own the gym, and I don't really care who you are. And I tried to say this on your post. Austin's response, that he's going to smack the you-know-what out of me. Listen here, little man. You don't want this smoke. Not from me and not from my Swole Army. If you ask me, you should be a little more concerned about training those little legs than talking smack. But if you want to keep running your mouth, I'm happy to end your career. Not just on social media, but in the ring. WWE, make it happen. And to you, Mr. Austin Chicken Legs Theory, you need to do better. Mind your own business.
I mean, he basically did exactly what you just explained, calling him little legs, little man, chicken legs. This man is one of the worst hypocrites I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And he says WWE superstar when he's Instagram lifter who just posts videos on social media hating on everyone else. I've never seen him do anything in the ring, even try to do a move. So yeah, good luck, Joey Swole. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he would say that he wants to fight them in the ring, that is ridiculous. He doesn't know anything about wrestling. Just because you have big muscles doesn't mean that's going to translate to, being a fighter. DRW, are you there? Did we lose you? Anyway, so we're waiting on DRW to come back. In the meantime, let's play this next video, which is Austin Theory. Austin Theory's response. Let's go ahead and play that.
In my time online, I've dealt with some weird fan bases. Survivor fans were okay. Wrestling fans, always super cringe. The Swifties, the ugly mum sharing friendship bracelets, they were pretty bad. But then out of nowhere comes the Swole Army. And like, fair play to Joey Swole, calling Man Theory out. He's a big jack dude. Dumb as paint, but in great shape. Good for him, but Joey, man, your fans, I can't believe it. Because this is what they do. You call someone out and they attack. Ah! And I had to go through the DMs, man. I had to click on the profiles, read the messages, because I needed a laugh. And man, for a bunch of people who worship you as a gym guy, your fans are a bunch of fat, ugly losers. I couldn't believe it. They're sending like 2 messages. It's either, you have chicken legs, or you shouldn't film, get a home gym, you can't film. But barely in English, brother. Maybe a fan should have spent more time reading and at school rather than pretending they go to the gym. Hey, Swole Army, cardio is okay. And then I clicked on some of the profiles. Oh my God. Some of the profiles, it's the classic loser gym person, you know? There's gym selfies and little videos of them working out, and every post has 2 likes, 3 likes, 5 likes, because mum, grandma, and all your cousins liked your post. You absolute losers. And as for you, Joey, I like what you do, brother. I like that you do these things, but man, don't you dare talk about coming to fight me in Theory. You might have a great bench press, you might have a great deadlift, but if you got in the ring with us, brother, we'd have you gasping for air in 25 seconds, because I know you got no gas tank. And hey, we aren't hard to find, lad. We're on SmackDown every single Friday. We're at WrestleMania this weekend. Turn up. See what happens, idiot.
Yeah, so that just goes to show you, be careful who you pick on the internet. DRW15, are you there? We're trying to get his signal back here. In the meantime, there's something important I'd like to discuss that happened last night on Monday Night Raw. And that is, another one of these like weird glitches with the QR code came up, and it was very disturbing. But I mean, we've seen this happen before. Oh, welcome back.
Sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties there. As you guys know, this is a live show, so stuff like that happens. But I was able to watch the video. I don't think my thing was up on screen, but I was able to watch the response to Joey Swole. So go on with what you're saying, and then I'll comment.
Well, yeah, back to the Swole Army. I just think it's very hypocritical to pick apart all these people's gym videos online, trying to seem like you're this super morally superior guy like to everyone else, yet your own comment section is full of racism, full of sexism, full of all of these different types of hate. But you decide to see over that. But instead you search the internet for any small issue you can find about random people's gym videos who have way less popularity than you. So then your huge fan base can just storm them with all this hate. I don't think it's very beneficial to the internet community, in the gym community, or any community.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's one thing for these, as you said, smaller content creators a lot of the time to make videos about, like this guy got in the way of me filming my set or something like that. Like, sure, that's not cool. But the response from the Swole Army is to as you said, to post a bunch of hate comments, a bunch of, racist other comments that have nothing to do with lifting or anything like that, and just belittling the person. And now they're after WWE superstars trying to make fun of the sport and make fun of the wrestlers. And as we said, I don't think Joey Swole would stand a chance in the ring. It's funny that he's now calling out these fighters. I think it's just for him to gain some attention for himself, because he's finally picking on someone his own size. But again, he's just going to hide on his social media. I would love to see him in the ring. I think we all would, but I think he knows that it would be a bit of an embarrassment for him to try to take on one of these fighters. So,
well, maybe he could go against the Alpha Academy and they'd finally have someone to beat.
True. Yeah. I think even Ilya Dragunov would clean the ring with Joey Swole. So that's saying something, but Joey Swole, I hope you stay away from the WWE ring, because it would be embarrassing.
Yeah, I agree. Well, speaking of people who like attention, we got another weird message from that hacker last night on a QR code. And there was something a little bit different about it this week, and that's the commentators actually acknowledged that it showed up on the screen, and he even talked about how, like Pat McAfee talked about how he scanned the one from last week. So, I mean, this was the first time the WWE officially said that they know about this. Like, obviously we know they know about it, but yeah, I wonder if it was a mistake by the commentators to even bring it up, but I don't know. What do you have to, like, what do you think about this?
Yeah, well, I'm sure Triple H wasn't thrilled that Pat McAfee admitted that he scanned the QR code, because that's kind of showing that the hacker's winning a little bit, and even members within the WWE universe are getting distracted by this hacker, and it just shows that hacker does have control. As we've talked about, he's distracting the fans and taking away from the matches themselves, but now even the commentators and people directly involved in the WWE universe are falling into his trap a little bit. So I'm sure Triple H is not happy about it. As we've said, nothing has been done about it aside from Pat McAfee finally mentioning it now, but WWE has released no official statement on what's going on or if they're doing anything. But we've seen time and time again, it feels like almost every live event, there's some sort of glitch or hack caused by this mysterious person.
And yeah, it's just weird, and it keeps happening every week, and I don't know, it's not really leading anywhere. So I don't know. It was like really interesting at first, like what's going on, but now it's just kind of been the same thing every week, and it's not really going anywhere. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not even scanning the QR codes anymore, because I just don't even care at this point. Like, if you have something to display on the screen, just display it. Don't do the QR code thing. It's getting annoying.
Yeah, the QR code is a little bit silly, because, like, obviously if you can show a QR code, you can show your actual message on the screen. So why put in the extra effort for us to have to scan your code in order to get your message? If you really want to get a message out to the WWE universe, just put it out there, So I think this hacker is doing a little bit too much. And I agree that it's getting a little bit tedious at this point, scanning all these QR codes. Like, either make a move or don't,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what is going on with that.
Yeah, no, I hope Triple H does something about it. As we've said, he needs to step it up a little bit. Prove that he can take down this hacker, but they're kind of at a standstill, I guess, at this point. So I don't know if Triple H is going to hope it dies off, or if he's going to finally acknowledge it and do something about it. But
yeah, I'm sure. I don't know if they have a cybersecurity team or anything yet, but I'm sure the WWE is scrambling to find the top, cybersecurity forces around the world. And I'm sure this is pissing them off a little bit, because instead of, spending their money to recruit new talent, they have to spend it on, reinforcing their website, reinforcing their security. And it's not even working. So, I mean, it's definitely a big L for Triple H and a big L for the WWE. And yeah, it's just disappointing to see when they're doing so great in other areas.
Yeah, no, I think it just goes to show that there's more to running a business like the WWE than just recruiting superstars and putting on a good show. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that usually we don't see, but when something like this happens, the fans start to see it and start to notice it, and it's a bad look on the company and on Triple H. So I do hope that something happens soon.
Yeah. Well, Triple H and Adam Pearce have been making a lot of like poor decisions lately, you know, with taking Drew McIntyre out of the tournament and putting Ilya Dragunov in and not putting in Braun Breaker and all this crap. But I think that, you know, Adam Pearce finally did something right last night with R-Truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we saw them planning the next tag team match. R-Truth has gotten a lot of his ideas in the past just batted down like it was nothing. People aren't really taking his ideas seriously, but a lot of people online, including the Chokeslam radio fans, believe that, you know, his idea for an NCAA tag team match would have been pretty interesting to see those college athletes go up against the pro athletes. We haven't really seen that in any other sport, but the WWE could have been the trailblazer. They could have been the first one to do it, but no, Miz and Adam Pearce just kind of swatted that idea down like it was nothing and didn't really take it seriously. But last night, you know, they agreed on something good to have a fatal four-way tag team match to decide who would go against them. And this was an amazing match to watch. And I think that, you know, all credit should go to R-Truth for coming up with this great idea.
Yeah. You know, R-Truth has been in the company a long time. He's definitely a WWE legend, and he's a tag team champion right now. So he definitely knows what he's doing. He's not just saying stuff just to say it. He's looking out for the company, and he also, you know, wants to put on a good match for the fans. And you know, that tag team match last night was a lot of fun, and now we'll get to see him and The Miz take on you know, JD McDonough and Finn Balor coming up. So that's going to be a great match. Great idea by R-Truth to set that up, and I think the WWE could learn a thing or two from him and start to take more of his ideas seriously.
Yeah, and I mean, those guys have a lot of history with each other, Judgment Day and R-Truth. So, you know, we thought that this tension was kind of over, but now it's coming back. You know, they're gonna take out all this anger on each other. And I mean, a lot of people would still consider R-Truth a member of the Judgment Day. So, you know, is he gonna take it easy on his old friends, or is he still gonna try to win?
No, I think R-Truth knows once you step in that ring, it's business. He's had a lot of friends and a lot of enemies over the years, but you know, when he and The Miz get in that ring and are set to defend their tag team belts, they're gonna stand on business. That's gonna be a fun match. But I know R-Truth isn't messing around, and I'm excited to watch him dominate again in the ring as he's been doing for so many years.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty safe to say R-Truth is going to have his head in the game. You know, he's one of the top stars in the company right now. But at the same time, his tag partner, The Miz, you know, he's been a little bit off lately. You know, he's been running around backstage, running around like a chicken with his head cut off, some would say. And I feel like he spent more time, you know, in the wardrobe picking out his next outfit than preparing for his next match. And, you know, we've seen in his last couple entrances with R-Truth, you know, he's been out of sync when they're doing the song. He's been off beat, and it really, you know, hurts their entrance because if I was going up against them in a tag match and I saw the Miz come in and he couldn't even say what's up on beat, then how is he gonna, do a tag move in sync with R-Truth when he can't even sync up with the beat? Like, I know it's tough with like the echoes in the stadium and stuff, but this is part of the package when you're a WWE superstar. You have to have your timing down, and that translates from music to the ring.
Yeah, I agree. And Judgment Day is not a group to mess around with. You got to have your A game on when you step in that ring with them. So it'll be fun to watch Awesome Truth step in there. But I do agree that they're gonna need to be on the whole match for them to retain the title. And if slip ups happen like they have in the past, I don't think that Judgment Day is going to let it slide like that. So I'm hoping that the Miz gets it together, that him and R-Truth realize the importance of this match, and they can work on their chemistry a little bit before, because as you mentioned, the Miz has been part of the problem and part of the reason that some of R-Truth's ideas have been shut down, and I'm sure that doesn't help their chemistry in the ring either. So I think if the Miz was a bit more accepting of some of R-Truth's ideas and realize that he's a valuable and a great member of the WWE universe, then things would go smoother. So obviously we wish them the best, but I think the Miz has a little bit to work on, and needs to check himself before this match.
Yeah. And especially going up with the Judgment Day, as you said, they're probably going to have, even though he's injured, I'm sure Dirty Dom is going to be running around causing some mischief outside of the ring. So, they got to have their head on a swivel. They got to know what's going on at all times, and they got to be in sync, and they haven't shown that outside the ring. So I don't know how that's going to translate to inside the ring, but they're just going to have to make it happen. I'm hoping that R-Truth or the Miz or somebody who knows them is watching this right now, and can share this info with them before their match. Wait, when is this match? On Monday or?
Probably.
Well, I mean, we hope that somehow they can get this info relayed to them before Monday so they can get their head in the game and really take on the Judgment Day, because we would hate to see them lose the belts. We're big fans of them. Yeah, we can be a little critical of them, but that's because we like them and we want to see them win. Yeah,
no, of course. Nothing wrong with a little bit of constructive criticism. And that match will be a banger for sure, as Sheamus would say.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Well, that's all really I had planned to discuss tonight. What about you?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. A lot of people were hating on Prime. We made a post about how they, Prime is the first real sponsor to have the bottle in the ring and the bottles ringside for the superstars to use, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's just water," and that superstars don't really drink Prime, and I think that's just a load of crap, and it's frustrating to hear that from fans of the WWE. So
yeah,
just address that here and now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, these fans and wrestlers, I mean, I've seen a lot of the wrestlers talk crap about Prime too. And it's kind of like when you have a favorite movie and someone says, "Oh, I hate that movie." And you ask, "Oh, have you watched it?" And they're like, "No." So it's like, how can you hate something if you've never tried it? A lot of these wrestlers, they're hating on Prime, but that hydration station is sitting right there. Maybe if you had a little bit in the middle of the match, maybe you do a little better. Maybe if Drew McIntyre drank a little bit more Prime, he wouldn't be injured right now, because those electrolytes really do help with healing. If he really actually took the time to take care of his body instead of complaining online, and drank a Prime or something, maybe he would be healthy right now fighting CM Punk.
Yeah, no, exactly. One guy who definitely drinks Prime is Randy Orton, and he's been a longtime legend in the ring. He's still going strong. As we mentioned, he just won his match against AJ Styles, and he's not afraid to drink Prime because he knows about all the benefits that it has. So for all these fools to say that, water's better or that they don't need to drink Prime, look at one of the all-time greats and what he's drinking. It's not water.
Yeah, I mean, Randy Orton, I mean, he was gone for a while and we didn't know why. And then, well, I think because the bloodline injured him, but he came back and he was looking more athletic than ever before. You don't get that type of body. You don't get that type of muscular strength at that age without having a little Prime every once in a while. You don't get there drinking just water. That's what I'm trying to say here is, water is good, okay, but Prime has coconut water, which has way more electrolytes. And, electrolytes are what helps you do everything in sports pretty much, like recover, sprint faster, get bigger muscles, all of that. It all comes from Prime. And yeah, you can drink water instead. You can drink whatever other drinks. I'm sure a lot of these guys who talk crap about Prime are probably alcoholics too. So maybe you should think about what you're drinking, So don't talk crap about Prime when you're down in, 10 Miller Lights every weekend. Yeah, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, none of that. It's called Prime because it keeps you in your prime. And as we've seen, Randy Orton drinks Prime, still in his prime, still dominating in the WWE. So enough with the BS.
Also, Team Prime is very dominant right now in entertainment, sports, WWE, sports entertainment. Team Prime is on top. Cody Rhodes is WWE champion. Do you think, the WWE champion, it takes a lot to get to that point. They're not going to just sign with any brand. They're only going to sign with the best. So that's why that just proves that Prime is the best. Patrick Mahomes, we don't like that guy. But the reason we don't like him is because he's so good at what he does. I don't know if Brock Purdy drinks Prime or what, but maybe if he did, we would have won the Super Bowl, honestly.
Yeah. All I'll say is that the WWE champion and the Super Bowl champion are both Prime athletes. And I think that says enough about the drink and about the people that drink it. So,
yeah. If someone in the comments is going to start hating on Prime, before you do so, you have to say what kind of champion you are, because I only want to hear you say something bad about Prime if you're a champion.
Yeah. That's
we drink Prime. We're SkyX champions, and we drink Prime.
Exactly. If you haven't won a championship, you can't talk about Prime. Maybe you should drink Prime, and then you'd win a championship. So,
yeah, I want someone to prove that they can win a championship without drinking Prime. I have yet to see it.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, every champion I know.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm really fired up after that. I don't really want to end the show. I feel like we're just getting started, but we have to get ready, start preparing for SmackDown this Friday. Get our notebooks ready and start making our brackets for the King of the Ring tournament.
Yeah. It was interesting that the LA Knight match happened and it wasn't even televised. I didn't even know it was happening, and all of a sudden I saw that.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on with that WWE. Like, you have a show every single night of the week, I feel like, and you can't televise the LA Knight match. So
yeah, at least put it on like NXT or something like that if you don't have space to put it into, one of the normal events. I know that SmackDown is only a 2-hour show, so you can't fit as much, but I don't know. Get it together.
Yeah.
Maybe put it in a WWE speed match on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Maybe they're just scared of this hacker and it's really starting to get to them and they're afraid to televise every event because they don't know what's coming next. But regardless,
Yeah.
I wanted to watch that match. LA Knight's fun to watch. And, all of a sudden I checked my phone and LA Knight's in the next round already. So whatever that is.
Yeah. Well, at least he didn't get eliminated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, keep up with this tournament when you don't even know, like, what's going on with half of it. Like, I don't know. You don't do March Madness without showing all the games because people, some people have a lot of money on this. But, people care about these superstars and they want to know what happens. So when you don't even televise it, like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Come on, Triple. This is just another example of how Triple H, he's got to get his shit together.
Yeah. We're just skipping matches at this point. I don't know who decided that or how that ended up happening, but that's a match we wanted to see. There's quite a few snoozer matches that go on during the week too that no one really needs to see. So the fact that LA Knight's match didn't make one of the main events is a bit shocking to me, but to each their own.
I know. I don't want to be one of these toxic people online, so I'm not going to call out, the matches that are snoozers, but there were quite a few last night. I had a lot of bathroom breaks and wasn't worried about it.
Yeah.
Wasn't worried about it at all.
No, it is nice to have the opportunity for a bathroom break, but I think I'd rather hold it and watch a good match than have to take a bathroom break every hour. That's just a personal thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, is that all for today? I'm good.
Yeah, we've had a solid episode. I'm sure there's I just want to say again that we don't condone negativity or hate in our comments. We're not the Swole Army here. We're the Chokeslam Radio. So, we're gonna post our content and our our reactions to the matches in shorts and TikToks and all of that. And we want to hear your opinions too, but we don't want to hear all these hateful comments, ripping down our podcast just because we don't like the same WWE superstars as you.
If you have a problem with what we have to say, just unfollow us. Just unfollow us. You don't have to follow us. We enjoy followers, but we have plenty. If we would rather you unfollow than ruin someone's day. Because you're not going to ruin our day by unfollowing.
Mm-hmm.
So with that message, we hope everyone has a great night. May the power of the dead man be with you. Make sure to choke slam that like button and choke slam or hit a tombstone on the subscribe. And also check out srotu.org. DRW15, where can they find you at online?
Yeah, you can check out DRW15 on YouTube. We also have TikToks and a Twitter or an X account. So we're on all the social media. If you just look up Chokeslam Radio, you'll find us. If you look up the WWE on any social media, you'll probably find us. So just look out for us, and keep us on watch because we do have the latest and greatest news from the WWE.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you for joining us on this bone-chilling journey through the world of WWE. Join us next time on your favorite podcast app or live Tuesday nights on YouTube, Instagram, and X. As the final bell tolls, remember to stay tuned for more spine-tingling tales from the crypt. Chokeslam that button and subscribe. Check out srotu.org and TRW15 on YouTube, or else. Until next time, may the power of the dead man be with you. Rest in peace.